All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be chatting quiz preview for graphing today. Hopefully you have been playing around with the calculator and your formulas and kind of have a feel for what you like best, even though we'll discuss that a little as we go through here. So graph each function, find the vertex domain range and whether it has a max or min in that value. All right, let's start easy. Vertex form. We love these. Why? Because it's just the opposite of H in K. Bam, bam. Now, if you want to put this in your calculator, you can. Okay? Totally okay doing that to get your other values. You know where your vertex is, you can get your symmetry. However, we also have the 1, 3, 5 pattern. For this very first one, I'm going to show both. I'm not going to do this on every one. Since my A value is -1, because of that negative right there, I would multiply each of these by this much. Now, what does that mean again? It means I'm going to start here. I'm going to go down 1 and over 1 each way. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. From that last point, 1, 2, 3. And 2. If I had room, I'd do it again for 5, but I don't. If you forget about that, again, as long as I type it in correctly, if I know my vertex, I can get that in the middle of my graph and see my symmetry. There's my -3, -2, my -1, -2. There's my 0, -5, and my -4, -5. We're rolling. Domain is the free square. Range, remember all these connections. It's going down forever, so I know that's where this starts. Your vertex will always tell you the top point of your range. Every time. Is it a max or a min? Well, it's a max. Duh. I see the top there. And that Y value is the max. 3 different things come from that. Oh, I guess I should have put it right here. Okay. I didn't need to do it twice. That's it. So for this next one, same thing. Opposite of H and K. Domain is always infinite. It doesn't matter. Opens up, opens down. My range, now again here, 2. My A value is 2. You can go to the calculator. Multiply your A value by 2, going up 2. You're like, Hardy, I can't go up 6. Well, you're right. I mean, I can kind of guesstimate. Even if I just had the 3, again, as long as it's curved, you're going to be okay. Range, we're going up forever. Positive infinity. Yes, the order matters. Bottom to top. If it's negative infinity, we start with it. If it's positive infinity, we end with it. We're at the bottom, so we're at a min. And what's that value again? The same thing as it has been for a while all along. You see what I'm saying? If you practice this, this just flows. Okay. Now, here, graph function, vertex, axis, symmetry, domain, and range. Okay, still in vertex mode. Nice. Vertex is at 2, 4. Axis of symmetry is the x value of your vertex. Every time. Domain is still infinite. And I see this is going to be opening down, so if I wanted to keep going here, I could. I'm going down. There's my y value. That's going to be at the top of my graph. And I'm going to be going down forever because I know it opens down. I haven't even graphed anything yet. Now, this one I understand if you decide you're going to go to the calculator. Because sometimes with this, you're like 1, 3, 5. I got to multiply by -1/4. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I mean, down a foot. I mean, that's not very much. Down 3/4 gets me back to a whole. If I don't like that, though, this is why I've been preaching over and over the need to be able to do this in multiple ways. Because now you can look, you've got a nice clean vertex at 2. Let me get centered up here. I wouldn't even care if you decided to go to the chart and you're like, okay, I'm just going to use the whole number. So I'm going to use 0, 3, and that, and I'm going to use -2, 0, and 6, 0. And you only had those points. Again, they're all going to get you on the same graph. You're not going to get bonus points for using the pattern. Sometimes the pattern's good. Sometimes, not quite so great. Okay. Graph the function, find the vertex. Now we're in standard form. Here's the one with the most work. You've got to remember your opposite of B over 2A. Otherwise, you're going to have to hope you get lucky and can find the vertex in your chart, and that's not going to happen every time. So A is -1, B is -12, C is -38. So we got the opposite of B over 2A. 12 divided by -2 is -6. Plug it back in or go to the calculator. Doesn't matter. Pull my chart. Get my -6 in the middle. Do I see symmetry? I certainly do. And I just start using this. So you notice how I've kind of gone back and forth. Sometimes if it's nice and clean, I like the pattern. If it's fractionally, decimally, things are getting weird. Sometimes I'm just on the calculator, I'm going to use it. You've gotta just kind of play it along. All right. One more in this world, and then we move to the next part. Opposite of B, 2A. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Again, take advantage of the situation. I mean, I could plug the 3 back in. I could use the pattern here. But to be honest, am I going to plug that back in and then go? I mean, I could. I'm going to show you both because I'm just goofy like that. Okay, again, I got my calculator. 3, -4. Whoop. Flip that over here. 2, -2, 4, -2, 5, 4, 1, 4. Reminder. If I'd have figured out my vertex, remember, my A value is 2. Yes, I would have had to plug this 3 in there to figure out the Y value. I mean, that might have taken me a little bit of time. But if I multiply all these by 2, up 2 and over 1 each way, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 1 each way, you got options, people. You got lots of options. I mean, we're kind of breezing right now. This is kind of nice. Oh dear, words. From an equation of a parabola, how can you tell if it has a max or a min? Before you look at a picture. So don't say opens up or opens down. It says from an equation, if you have a positive A value, it opens up. If you have a negative A value, it opens down. That's about as least wordy as you're going to get. But do not just tell me opens up, opens down. You've got to tell me what piece tells you that. How can you find the slope of a graphed parabola? Now this is going to be a couple of steps. This one's not quite as straightforward as that was. Because here, okay, you're going to find the A value. Then, depending on what you have, Or if you have a graph, oh, it says graphed. Oh my gosh. Oh, geez. Okay, scratch Hardy's number 2. See, this is where I tell you all to read and then I didn't. Graph parabola. Okay, look at your A value. And on the graph, and again, you're all going to write this differently, but here's what I was basically saying. Okay, I got my vertex. I don't know what the A value is yet. So let's say, you know, my dots are over here. So I'm like, I go up 2 and over 1. Let's say that's what I got to count here to do. My A value would be 2. Those first 3 dots, your vertex and the next 2, are going to tell you how far you have to go. And some of you probably were much more eloquent than I just was right there. Additionally, since I didn't see the word graph and I started saying use the pattern, I can't use the pattern if it's already graphed. I have to look at it. So that'll get to be a little more interesting. Hopefully clean that up in class a little bit better. All right, a little more graphing. Graph the function, find the vertex, equation axis symmetry, and the x-intercepts. Okay, easiest thing to do here, find your x-intercepts first. Set those equal to 0. Coordinate points, not x equals. What's in the middle of -3 and -1? -2. There's the x value of your vertex. Now, to me, this time, I'm not going to bother going to the calculator because I'm like, I can do this. So, -2 plus 3 is 1. -2 plus 1 is -1. 2. Y equals -2. Which makes sense. It's opening up. My A value is 2. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. Would I get the same thing if I went to my calculator? Yeah. I knew what the x value was from finding that spot in the middle. Heck, let's even take this one step further. What if you forgot everything about that stuff? You're like, I forgot -b over 2a. I forgot everything else. Hardy, I'm screwed. You're not. You know why you're not? Because you have another option. Second, trace, minimum. Let it get graphed here for a minute. Because the minimum is your vertex. So I'm going to get to the left of my vertex. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to get to the right of my vertex. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit enter again. Look at there. -2, -2. People, there are, well, I'm not going to say endless, but at least like 2 to 3 ways you can do this on every one. Don't cut yourself short. Okay, I do it here. -1, -4, -1, -4. Now, the middle of this is a little more interesting. It's -2.5. Ugh. But is it really that bad? No. Okay, if it's -2.5, -2.5 plus 1, -2.5 plus 4. You just got to make sure you type it in right. Yep. 2.25. Is that reasonable? We're going down. It's looking reasonable. If you're still a little afraid and you want to check, you're like, all right, let's see. Oh, crap, I can't see my vertex in here. Oh, wait. Plus 0.5 because it's a half. Now let's see, do I see symmetry? I do. -1, 0. -4, 0. -2.5, 2.25. And if you really wanted to, you know, make some brownie points, we get those extra 2 points in there to make sure we get a nice curve. And we're off and running. Man, play with it. This is going to be so easy. Oh, dear. Oh dear. Graph the function. Hardy's going to review. Okay, let's see what we got rolling here. Vertex still plays the same way. Opposite of H, K. -3, -4. My A value is 3. Now remember, this is not a quadratic. This is more like classic slope. 1, 2, 3, 1 both ways. 1, 2, 3, 1 both ways. Oh, Hardy, how am I supposed to keep this straight? Practicing and watching this. Okay, that's it. That's all I asked me for. Radical. Now, radical, you can go straight to a calculator if you want on this, but here's what I'm going to do, because I'm crazy. And I also don't want to be slave to the calculator. That's just me. So I look at this and I say, okay, this affects X, this affects Y, this affects Y. So what's that mean for me? It means I'm going to -1 from all my X's, because remember, it's the opposite of that. And then for my Y, I'm going to multiply by -2, and then I'm going to subtract 3, because it's always multiplying than this. So, take my X's, take 1 away from each. Take my Y's, multiply it by -2, subtract 3. Multiply it by -2, so -2 minus 3. -4 minus 3, -6 minus 3. There's my points. So -1, -3, 0, -5. Oh, crud, it's going to go off. Well, that's okay. Hardy, I'm not going to remember all that stuff. Oh, people. I do wonder sometimes. I do. -1, -3, 0, -5. 3, -7. Oh, and I never put this back the way it belonged. Let's fix that. That's it. That's it. Like, not even 20 minutes. Practice this stuff. Know your stuff. If you have done your practice and your homework, you are going to nail this. See ya.